Namaskar. Now here's a little bit about Vaastu, a term understood and described by most in their own manner. I have also been doing a lot of work in this field since 2008 and onwards, and I have always tried to explain the importance of energy along with the alignment of the five elements where Vastu is concerned. The basics of Vastu shall remain the same, I agree, and can surely be even Googled and implemented. But those basics, when implemented in a certain manner, can actually produce wrong results because half knowledge is dangerous. And I see a volley of videos these days where you're asked to do certain things to get certain results. And believe me, they can sometimes go drastically wrong. Vastu is some deep karmic work where we are talking about bringing balance and harmony into your sacred space where you reside, whether alone or along with your family members or along with your colleagues when it comes to your workspace. So be it your residential space or your commercial space, there are a lot of factors that need to be taken into consideration. There are the Devic energies, the karmic energies, the directional elements, the zone specific requirements. All these factors need to be looked into when we are talking about Vastu. A practitioner cannot sometimes do justice in just one session or a single visit and simply go and install the remedies and be done with it. No. At times, we need to understand whether the family members are attached to a certain system of doing things which comes from their culture, which a practitioner is sometimes not aware of, and they just go and do the basics and come back, and the desirable results are sometimes not achieved because talking to the natives is very important, and knowing their culture, their habits, and certain other criteria related to certain activities that they do in certain directions also needs to be checked, because every direction is related to certain activity. Then come the five elements and energy balancing and placement of objects, etc. Now, very interestingly, just a couple minutes ago, I saw a video related to this famous singer Sonu Nigam, where he is doing his worship in his home temple in a very dedicated manner. Now, the energies of the deities and his ancestors is mixed in a common space in his case. The Vedic texts now say that the Pitru energies and the Devata energies, they're different. So the placement of the idols of gods, gurus, and photographs of ancestors, all these need to be separate, and your family altar needs to be looked into very, very carefully, because that also gives an indication of the kind of blessings you are receiving. So this kind of a placement creates some obstacles, but again, depending on the direction of the sacred altar, or depending on sometimes the natives' horoscopes, or the blessings of certain gurus, or the siddhi of a certain deity, in these cases, the effect is minimalistic. Otherwise, such a kind of a placement is ideally not desirable. Now, let's talk about a very interesting subject, the olden days. Many people come and ask that there was no sense of Vastu and lives were still going on in olden days. So, how did that happen? You're absolutely correct at that. But then all lives were not so easy either. People were more accepting of their struggles, and there was also lack of expert advice, because all the expert advice either went with the royal families or with the rich and the famous, or were more prevalent in, let's say, the south of India, where these kind of practices were, or this kind of knowledge was embedded in the culture itself. So in olden days, definitely there was a lack of expert advice on the subject. But then there were very many other factors which made life simpler in olden days. Let's consider some of those points. There was lesser stress on interiors, on placement of artifacts, beautification, lesser toilets, lesser high rises, the elements were purer. You would typically have a tulsi in the veranda, toilets outside the house, and hence greater balance as well in a certain sense. Habits like eating together, sitting near the kitchen on the floor, and eating together, which took care of certain elements like there is a disbalance of Rahu, etc. So habits, yes, they too matter when it comes to Vastu, like leaving dirty utensils in the kitchen sink at night, wearing unclean clothes, or keeping the toilet doors open after using them. All these habits also matter a lot. There are many such habits that do not let you walk the path of growth and prosperity the way you desire. So your habits also need to be looked into very carefully when we talk about Vastu, and we need to talk to you about your habits as well. And then there is the use of the latest material, the laminates, the colors that you use because of the choice of interiors that you have. Now, in a certain case, I saw that there was a huge black door in the east, and with a beautiful golden handle and golden flower pots outside the gate, and it was an east entrance. Now, a black gate in the east to me simply means Amavasya. So we need to also see whether what kind of material, what kind of laminates, what kind of colors are you using in which directions. In olden days, all this kind of imbalance also did not exist in the name of interiors. So when you are using the material for your homes, be very, very careful about what you're using, like the use of rubber wood. In certain cases we've seen has led to a lot of imbalance. Also, when you call a Vastu practitioner or an Astro Vastu expert to your home or to your office or to your factory, please ask valid questions like why your mind lacks clarity or what's wrong with the elemental balance, and try and understand the Vastu principles. And also implement the changes all at one go together. Selective changes also, I'd say, would not work. So you need to change whatever you've been advised to change. The Vedic Vastu texts actually are so deeply entrenched in certain principles that I feel sometimes we need to first begin by teaching a few principles and then doing the site treatment and balancing. But I feel in today's times, no practitioner or the residents, the natives have the time or the energy or even the money to kind of afford the multiple visitations. But sometimes it's very essential to visit a site maybe more than once to understand the problems with the site. And I feel we should not be very particular about giving a certain limited time when it comes to creating balance in a certain space or an environment. But I do understand that there is now more awareness about the importance of Vastu, and more people are desiring to experience the change through the elemental and energy balancing. And with this, I would like to stop here and encourage all of you to follow Vastu guidelines and aim to create an environment around you that promotes greater balance, more positivity and spiritual harmony in your homes and workspaces. Namah Shivaya.